Thankfully, we made it to Thursday. We are moving on to Chapter 7, Lesson 3, and we're going to work on subtraction. We worked on this earlier in the school year, so now we're coming back. We're kind of looping back around to it. So this is Chapter 7, Lesson 3. We've finished up our geometry portion, so now we're moving on to subtraction. So you have Thursday, Friday subtraction, you'll have a wave week, and then the following week you'll have more subtraction, and then a test over geometry and subtraction. So I want to make sure you have a good grip on how to subtract 3-digit numbers. It's not difficult because we've already done this process before. So this should be pretty much review. All right, so 135 students are on the playground. 100 students go inside. How many students are left on the playground? Use base 10 blocks to solve. Write the number. Second grade, we know we don't have base 10 blocks at home. Some of us might, but we're just going to go ahead and do some old school math. We're going to make sure we got it right. So we have 135 students on the playground. 100 students go inside. Oops, there we go. How many are left out? Well, 5 minus 0 is 5. That's right. 3 minus 0 is 3. And 1 minus 1 is 0. So the answer would be 35 students. 135 students on the playground. 100 students go inside. How many students are left on the playground? That 35. We simply took away the 100. Okay. Moving on to the see and show. This is still Chapter 7, Lesson 3. To subtract 100 or 10, think of facts you know. Mentally subtract 100. 422 minus 100. Well, I know 4 minus 1 is 3. I know the 22 minus double zeros is still going to drop down to 2, so it'll be 322. Mentally subtract the 10. So 460 minus 10. We're not going to mess with the 4 because that's in the hundreds place. So we're going to have to think about that 6. That's in the tens place. But we're taking away 10. So from 6, I've got to jump back 1 will be 5, which would make it 50, which would make it 450. All right. So the rest, here's what we're going to do. We're going to do these together. Those of you who are ready to do mental math, go ahead and do your mental math. Make it very easy. Those of you who have to go step by step old school, I'm going to walk you through step by step old school. 9 minus 0 is 9. 2 minus 0 is 2. 3 minus 1 is 2. Those of you who did mental math, 329 minus 100, 3 minus 1 is 2, and then I drop down my 29. Number 2, 0 minus 0 is 0. 2 minus 1 is 1. There's nothing underneath the 8, so I just drop down. That's my drop down sign. Drop down my 8, so 810. 3 minus 0 is 3. 6 minus 0 is 6. 3 minus 1 is 2. 678 minus 10. 8 minus 0 is 8. 7 minus 1 is 6. There's nothing in the 100 spot, so I'm just going to drop down my 6. 668. Number 5, 4 minus 0 is 4. 2 minus 1 is 1. 7, drop it straight down because there's nothing in the hundreds place. In the ones place, 4 minus 0 is 4. 6 minus 1 is 5. 1 minus nothing is still 1. Going sideways, if you need to, you can turn it. Instead of doing it horizontally, you can definitely stack it vertically. Just make sure your big number's on top. So 900 minus 100. 0 minus 0 is 0. 0 minus 0 is 0. 9 minus 1 is 8. And those of you who can do mental math, that's great. Those of you who need to stack it and look at it, that's great too. Okay, 743 minus 10. 3 minus 0 is 3. 4 minus 1 is 3. 7 with nothing under it is 7. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the next page. Well, before we do that, let's talk math. Tell how to mentally subtract 10 or 100. If you can do it mentally and you can tell a parent at home how you can skip count by 10 and skip count by 100 and explain how you do it mentally in your head, that's great. If you're one of my kids who needs to write it out old school and stack your numbers vertically and come into your columns where you have your ones, your tens, your hundreds, that's fine. If you have to do it a different method, it does not matter to Miss Kelly how you find your answer as long as it makes sense in your own brain. Math is going to be very personal to you. Some of you will choose to go old school. Some of you can do mental math. Some of you draw a picture. There's not one single way to solve a math problem. Okay, there's lots and lots and lots of different ways to figure out math. Just find the one that works best for you and stick with it. All right, I hope I'm not double recording. If I am, I apologize. But on problems 9 through 17, you're going to go ahead and subtract. You're either subtracting 100 or you're subtracting 10. If you need to do it old school, do it old school. If you can do it mentally in your head, do it mentally in your head. It does not matter as long as you understand why you're getting the answer you're getting. It all has to do with place value. You're working in the ones, the tens, and the hundreds is what we're focusing on. Numbers 20, 21, 22, and 23, you need to figure out what the missing number is. So basically, the best way I can tell you is if you're going from 434 to 424, did you have to skip count backwards by 10 or skip count backward by 100? So if you can look at the place value of the hundreds and the tens, you're going to find your answer pretty quickly. You'll know if it's 100 that they took away or 10 that they took away. So think about that as you look at those problems. If you need to solve it out by writing them vertically to double check your mental math, you can do that as well. The last page is problem solving. Problem 24 says 863 flowers bloomed on the school playground. 100 of the flowers were eaten by bugs. How many flowers are on the playground now? So you're going to go 863 minus 100. Number 25, 299 people came to the school play. 10 people had to leave early. How many people were still at the play? So you're going to take 299 and you're going to subtract 10. Again, if you can do it mentally, that's great. If you need to write it out old school and stack your numbers so you can see your ones, your tens, your hundreds place value, that's fine too. If you have a different method to get the answer, that is fine as long as you can understand how you're getting the answer. Okay, there's not one way with math. There's many, many different ways to solve a math problem. You need to find the way that works best for you and use that method. Number 26, 423 wildflowers grew in the field. Embry picked 10 of them. How many wildflowers are in the field? So you have to subtract again, 423 minus 10. Right math, explain how you would mentally subtract 10 from 900. And when I think about this problem, I think about skip counting, but skip counting backwards by 10. So think if you're at 900 and you have to skip count backwards by 10, what would it get? If that's still too challenging, and that could be very, very challenging really because it's a different way of thinking, you can stack it, put 900 on top and put the 10 underneath it and subtract it out and work it out that way. Then tell me how you could do it mentally, because sometimes if you have to do it old school to find the answer and then you can figure it out mentally, that's fine too. Okay, remember math, there's not just one way to solve a problem in math. You can solve it many different ways. Find the strategy that works best for you and stick with it. You're doing a fantastic job. We have Fridays tomorrow. You will have subtraction tomorrow. All next week we'll focus on subtraction. And then at the end of the week, we're going to have a test that's going to go over your 3D shapes and subtraction. But you're doing fantastic. I know this is a challenge, but you're doing super great, and I'm so proud of you. I will talk to you soon.